Howdy tubes, welcome back to the Zach Life. On this episode, this is going to be just the manufacturing of the gray water tank. It's going to be a fiberglass tank. Hopefully this works as well as I think it will. The size of it's 31.5 by 26 by 28 tall. I'm reading that. And my plan is I've got some plywood over there, and I'm going to build me a plywood box. I'm going to build a plywood box. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'll show as I build it. I've kind of got the idea in my head, but it's sort of collapsible, and I'm going to build a shell. It'll just be the tub of it, if you would, without the top, and I'm going to just drape fiberglass over it to build an open top tank. And then after that, I'm going to pull the box, collapse the box, pull it out of the inside of it, and then build a top. Flip it over, cut it off, square it up, and build a top. So the first step is to cut up some plywood. Let's do it. There's a storm coming. No joke, the temperature just dropped like probably 15 degrees instantly. It's pretty stormy looking back in there. I want to take a sander to knock all the corners off this. The box will collapse pretty easily, and then you see it's got plastic over it with tape holding the plastic on so that the fiberglass can't stick to the wood, where it'll come apart easily. And then I believe that the fiberglass will come off that tape relatively easily after it's out, after the the box part is pulled out. So this is upside down. This will be the bottom. The top of the tank will be right here. These two legs are a little bit longer than these to be. I'm gonna have to go inside. The stupid winds pick back up. I'll catch you back in the shop. I'm gonna go ahead and mix up a whole gallon of this. I think I'll need the majority of it. This piece, as you can see, goes over the top. I got another one that'll go this way. It's not quite big enough. And then I'm gonna go around the circumference of it. That wouldn't be a circumference because it's not a circle, but whatever. I have a feeling this is going to be a mess, and I just hope it works. Okay, so here it is. It's pretty ugly. You can see the seams and stuff in it, but I think that this will give me a pretty good structure. I'm gonna let this set up, pop it out of the off the box tomorrow, and sort of take a circular saw and cut around the bottom to square it up to the correct height. I think everywhere, if I'm correct, has got three plies, 3 layers of this heavy fiberglass, and this crap is extremely, you know, see, here's just a single weave. You know, this stuff's really heavy duty. Alright, well, there's the first step. You know, it's a little flimsy, but I mean, it's not that bad. Once you put the top on it, it'll be a lot more rigid. But I gotta cut it off back and top. I'm gonna get as much of this plastic and tape out of here as I can. I think it'll come out reasonably easy. And then once I get the top on it, I'll be able to just keep flipping it over and over and over, and layering more and more fiberglass. I guess the next step is I'm gonna make the top piece. So I've stood it up. The part that I put on is now on top, and I'm just going around that top edge with this mat and forcing that corner. And I'm gonna let that set up, and then I'm gonna start wrapping this thing in the cut strand mat to start building up some thickness and some strength. And then I'm planning on putting another layer of the mat on the outside after it's completely done. Okay, so I've skipped forward several steps here because I got like 50 gigs or something, like 64 gigs of a video of me just putting glass on this. Here's my procedure as far as what it's going to be when it's done. So there's roughly 2 layers everywhere of that real heavy mat that I started with. So the bottom has got 2 layers, actually 3, of the real heavy mat, plus 1 layer of the stuff like this that goes around all 4 sides. And then as a finish, I've already done this side. It's got 1 layer of this, followed by a layer of this cloth. So this one is done. Now it's not cured, it's still a little bit sticky, but it seems to be tough as snot. So alright, this is going to be the bottom. Same story, except I'm going to put a couple extra layers. I'm going to try to do it all at one time. I don't know if I've got enough polyester mixed up or not. And it may get too hot, I may get too much buildup, but I'm going to see what we can get done. Alright, I'm going to let that set up and then I'm going to drill a hole in it. Guys, fill it full of water and see if it leaks. My next thing is to make sure it doesn't have a hole in it. I don't think that it does. I don't think there's any way it could. But it would be terrible to get it in there and it leak, because it would be almost impossible to get it out and fix it. So what I've got here is a relatively sensitive pressure gauge that reads pressure from 0 to 3.5 psi. Now I have screwed the 0 point in as far as it would go, and it now zeroes about 1.5 pounds. And I use this gauge to determine sometimes problems with oil wells, like tubing leaks or ball and seat that's hung or whatever. And I don't know that this gauge is super accurate as far as PSI goes, but you can see the pressure wave, the pressure rocking or whatever, when you're trying to find a tubing leak or figure out what's up with an oil well. Anyway, I'm going to drill and tap a hole in the top of this tank, screw this in it, pressure it up with a pound or 2 of air, and let it sit for a few hours and make sure it doesn't go down. I think that's easier than trying to fill the tank full of water and then get the water out of it and everything else. Alright, it's been about 30 minutes and it looks about the same. So I'm going to call that a success. Alright, here's my holding tank valve set up. It's going just inside this wall like this. Gray tank's here and the black tank's up there. Here's the compartment door I'm going to use. The problem is to have the black tank valve open, this door will have to be open because the valve handle is going to stick out here. But I don't think it'll be an issue. You will be able to open the gray tank with this shut. And then the outlet is actually going to be underneath. It's going to come straight down out of the coach, right about here. That's a little bit awkward in there, but I think it'll work. So I'm gonna put this in. I'm not gonna screw it. I'm gonna actually put it in with 1/4-inch pop rivets, and I think they're the best option for going through a thin piece of sheet metal, and also they won't have a sharp something on the inside to catch your arm. You know, they're a nice smooth deal. this is the bottom. The outlet port will be roughly right here. I got to measure it. What I'm thinking is I'm going to actually hole saw it and tap it to 1.5 pipe tap, and then just screw a changeover in it. Looks good to me. Okay, you can see down there I got the wood screwed in. Outside pieces are 2 bides, inside pieces are 1 bides. It's pressure treated lumber with 2 coats of oil-based Kills primer. And then what I'm going to do to actually tie this down, I don't know if you can see, it's almost dark. I got to quit. I'll put ratchet strap D-rings. There's one there and one there. And I'm actually just going to put 2 ratchet straps to hold this thing in. I know it's kind of rigged up, but I think it'll be the best scenario, the easiest thing to make work. I forgot to hit record here, but that's just a stick-on heating pad that you can plug in that's used to keep your holding tank from freezing if you want to go winter camp. Alright, I got this insulation put on here. I think my camera might not have worked because I looked up it wasn't recording. But this is just a stick-on insulation. It's got like a stick-on heating pad right here. 120 volts, and it'll fit down in that sort of cavity, so to speak. That's where the 1-bys are, where it won't have a bunch of weight sitting on this. So I'm gonna call this video. The only thing I got left to do is drop the tank in there. I'm completely out of sunlight, as you can tell. You probably can't see me. And I'm waiting on the ratchet straps. I know the ratchet straps are kind of a dumb way to hold it down, but I think it'll really work well. And you know, they won't be exposed to sunlight. They ought to last forever, you know, 10 years anyway. And it won't be that big a deal to access them. I'm going to make this piece of plywood that's on top of this relatively easy to remove. I mean, you'll have to get in here with a screw gun and pull some screws and stuff out, but in case I need to run the overhead on the generator or something. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. The holding tank was definitely a pain. It was expensive to make. I don't know if I've made that clear. I don't think this is something you should do with a normal motorhome. If you run your crap tank, if you can buy one, buy one. But if you can't, this is a viable option. Anyway, catch you next time.